My name is Robert Veerman. I'm a small business server MVP and I run the titlerequired.com blog, and in this video I'm going to demonstrate how to use PowerShell to find your Exchange organisation message size limits. I was answering a question in the TechNet forum recently, and the guy was trying to find out his organisation-wide message limits because he was having trouble receiving a message, and it became apparent quickly that the best way to get this information out of the Exchange server was by using PowerShell, and by using a switch that I'll demonstrate in a minute, you can actually get that logged out into some files, which makes it easy to review at a later date. So I'm just going to load up my script, which is called message size. So what we can see in the sort of turquoise colour, we've got our global size limits, the green is our sending size limits, yellow is our receiving size limits, and the dark blue at the bottom is our mailbox size limits. And then below that you can see where it says logged, you can see that all this information has been logged out to a file. So I just wanted to explain how you get from a script like the one I've written back down into the basic code that produces it. So if we start here at the top and we look at our variables, the variables I've used here, if you don't know what they are, the best way to look at them is they're just placeholder values for something that you're going to use later on. So in this instance I use the string global value, and I've set that to true. Now the variable name can be anything you want, and the value can be anything you want. I'm just choosing to use true or false in this script because that seems to work quite well for the values that I want to check. So what we do a bit further down, we'll use an if statement, which is basically like a question. If such and such is true or false, or bigger than or greater than, then do the following, and the text or the code that you want to have carried out sits between these curly brackets. So in this instance, if the global string value equals true, then we're going to write this piece of code to the console in these colours, and then we're going to write the output of the commands contained within the brackets. So in this instance the command is get transport config, which we can show here. So get transport config. Now you can see you get a lot more information here than perhaps we need when we're looking at send and receive size limits. So we can actually filter that command down and just select the information that we want. So you can see we've filtered that information down, and now we've got a much more manageable piece of a result, and that matches exactly what we've got here. So those steps are just followed through for the other connectors that we're checking, so the send connectors, receive connectors, and the user mailboxes. So there's nothing particularly complicated about doing that. Once you understand the if statements, then you're pretty much there. And certainly if it was that complicated, then I wouldn't be able to do it. So hopefully that gives you a bit more of an overview or an understanding of how we get from something like this to something like this. What we can do, if I go through to the top here and we just edit these variables, and I'm just going to make them false. Save that. So now basically what we're saying is that these values are false, which means that these if statements will not match, and these bits of code will not be carried out. We've left the log variables as true, which means the output will still be logged. So let's just run this again, and you can see we don't get any of that information output to the console, but we do log all that information. So if we just go into our log files folder, I can remember where it is, and you'll see here our results. So we've got our transport size, our receive connectors, send connector, and our user mailboxes. So the last thing to talk about is the log file itself and how we generate the log file name. So in my script I've scrolled down to the area that creates those logs. Again, if the variable equals true, then we'll do what's contained within the brackets. So the first thing we'll do is we'll say that we're going to log that information, and as I've just demonstrated, that appears in the console. The next thing, what happens is we run the get transport command, again selecting the name, send, receive, sizes, formatting the list, but then we add on another command called outFile, and then we use the path contained here to generate the file. So everything basically contained within these brackets creates our path. Obviously this bit here is quite simple, that's the text portion. This bit here is a get date command, and that determines the date that we're going to add to our file name. So you see I'm running it now, 9th of October 12:35, and you can change that around really to run it however you like. So you can just put the date, or you can put the time first if you want to. So using the variable string log for our log file location, adding to that with the plus command the get date command, and then adding to that the last bit of the puzzle, saying that this is the global results and that we want it to be a text file. So of course I can just run that command in a PowerShell window. I'll need to edit this slightly because I haven't set the variable for the log file path. And we'll just put that in the PowerShell demo folder. So, of course, we're just running the results command, so we're not getting any output to the console. If I go into that folder, we'll see we've got our send connector results, just as we have in our normal script. So that's all for this video. Hopefully I've explained how you can create a PowerShell script in a little bit more detail. If you do have any questions, feel free to get in touch, and contact details on the screen, and thanks for listening.